our discussion on the second panel will focus on internships, apprenticeships, staff development, retention, mentoring, and education's role in developing a strong workforce. And I'd like to start with introducing our panel members. Ken Mahuta is right here from Mahuta Tool Company, and I'd like to have him talk about his role in his company.
Oh, that's quick. Hi, I'm Ken Mahuta. I own Mahuta Tool Corp. We started about 25 years ago. We've been in business, and we're a contract machining and tool and die company. We build specialized tooling and manufacturing for manufacturers. We're in a low volume, so we don't do anything, high volume. We employ about 25 people, including 3 apprentices right now. We also employ a GPS student, and we also employ students that are going to the technical college. So we're a real big supporter in apprenticeships.
Okay. Our next panelist is Jenna Newhouse. Jenna, you want to talk about your background?
Sure. So my name is Jenna Newhouse. Like you said, I am in my 5th year at UW-Milwaukee. It's my final semester. I am double majoring in marketing and human resources and minoring in communications. And I've been working at Direct Supply as an account manager intern for about a year and a half now.
Thank you. Our next panelist is Avdeev, who is a professor in the School of Engineering at UW-Milwaukee.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Well, I wear many hats as any faculty, and the 2 hats I want to talk about here is I'm involved in a NSF Research Experience for Teacher program. It's a program that allows to bring us MPS teachers to College of Engineering, immerse them into research for the summer, then send them back to the school and so they change their curriculum and engage students in MPS to go into STEM disciplines. So it's 10 teachers impact about 1,000 students, so it's a very good model. And the second program is the program I co-founded, is a UWM Student Startup Challenge, which is augmenting the traditional education that we provide, where we train engineers, business majors. With this program, we basically engage students into interdisciplinary groups to launch a business. And we mentor them, we help them, we provide some money. We got a great help from state of Wisconsin in form of a big grant. And we scaling up fast. We started last year. We had in 2 years 120 student teams applied. Last year we sponsored 3 teams, this year 8, and next year we'll sponsor 20 teams. So I can talk a little bit more about it later.
Our next panelist is Sara Reed from Baird. Sara, would you like to talk about your role?
Sure. I lead the talent acquisition function at Baird, which is a financial services firm downtown Milwaukee. We have a really large internship program. We have almost 150 interns that we have each summer, and a number of them year round, and looking forward to talking about that.
The next panelist is Stephanie Borowski. You want to talk about your
Sure.
role?
I have a kind of a unique background in that I spent 16 years in industry as a VP of HR at Generac Power Systems. And then in the last 5 years, took over the responsibility as now president of GPS Education Partners. Some of you may know it as Second Chance Partners for Education. It's an organization, nonprofit organization that's been around actually for 13 years. The first about 8 years was a really small calculated growth, otherwise known as the Generac program. And really it's been in the last 3 years that we've grown significantly. And what this program is really preparing high school juniors and seniors for continuing education, meaningful careers, and really productive lives through the immersive work-based education programs that we offer. And so we really ultimately bring education and business together for the betterment of these young people through an immersive educational process that is incredibly unique. We have 200 students right now in our programs. We have 16 education centers throughout the state of Wisconsin, and we have 49 high schools, that we partner with for these students, and over 100 businesses in which we work with. And so, very, very unique program, and I look forward to talking more about it.
Thank you. And our other panelist is Wade Krogwold from Direct Supply.
Good morning, everyone. As was said, my name is Wade Krogwold. I'm the Campus and Community Recruiting Manager at Direct Supply. Direct Supply is a company, is a privately owned company, employee-owned, started in '85. Our internship program was started in 1987, so 2 years after the company was started. Side note, that intern is still with us. He's graduated since then, but still working with us as well, and a very successful career with us. As a company, we focus on the healthcare, long-term healthcare market. We provide products, services, and technology solutions into that space. We work with companies throughout the country as far as nursing home, assisted independent living communities throughout the country. So we bring in a variety of skill sets from sales, marketing, IT, operations, just a wealth of different skills and experiences. We have about 1,050 employees at Direct Supply and about 70 interns with us. My background, I've been in the recruiting field for about 20 years, just over 20 years, and I've been at Direct Supply for just over 13 years.
Okay, thank you. What I'd like to do, because we have a variety of topics we want to cover, is first of all focus on internships and what are the advantages does a company realize from having an intern? Maybe we could start with Sara talking about the advantages of an internship program.
There's many, many advantages. I can't even begin to list them all, but I think it's actually one of our key diversity strategies, our internship program. As some of you may know, the financial services industry is not exactly the most diverse environment out there. So we really have tried to grow talent through our internship program. And I think one of the advantages is just trying to educate people on the business and what it's all about. It's not just about working in a bank as a teller, and it's not just about being an investment banker. There's a lot of opportunities within the business. So first and foremost, it educates students and helps sell our brand on campus. And it also helps educate our leaders as well as other associates, and just kind of bridging that gap across different generations and understanding and knowledge sharing, which I think is pretty powerful. It's also a great tool for us to really enhance the environment from an engagement perspective for everyone, because there's such an enthusiasm and an energy that an intern comes in with, and especially in an organization like ours where we have a lot of tenured associates, which is great, but it's nice to infuse that younger talent that has this different burst of energy that really helps drive engagement for them as well as other folks within the organization. So that's just a few things that I can think of, but it's a great program. It's one of our key successes from an HR perspective as it relates to diversity and engagement and just helping drive a great talent pipeline.
Wade, would you like to talk about Direct Supply?
Yeah, we've seen advantages in a number of realms. One, from the company standpoint, as Sara mentioned, you bring in new talent, new ideas, different perspective. It really challenges the way you've been doing things within your group, your team, your company, which we thrive on. We want that. We've averaged some pretty high growth, and we want to continue that. And we're not going to do that by doing the same thing the same way year after year. It also helps the student. How many times do you hear from students, gosh, I'm not sure what I want to do. And that's a daunting thought for students. It's daunting for me to think about what I want to do with the rest of my life. So as a student, I can only imagine their concerns. So we focus a lot on their talent as far as what skills and interests and passion do they have to be able to tap into that, and then enable them an opportunity to apply that in the workforce to see how that may fit into different careers as well. There's also benefit to the school. You think about students who are coming into the workplace and the environment, they're having those experiences within functional areas and within teams. They're able to then take that back to the school that they're at and share that with their classmates, and it just elevates the learning and the applicability of the theory and concept that's being covered in class with that real world application. So again, a lot of advantages, so we're really excited about the growth of our internship program and see a lot of benefit to it.
Okay. And along the lines of internships, both Baird and Direct Supply have very established internship programs. Can both of you talk about the way to build an internship, build a successful internship program?
You want to start?
Sure.
All right.
Sounds good. I think a really key factor is having commitment from a leadership perspective, from the top. And our leaders are very dedicated to the intern program. It's one of their favorite things. They love to see the students come in. I think the other thing is to make sure that you really round out the program. It's not just about extra help for the company. And I think that was kind of the old school mentality of what an internship was all about. It's really about making sure you develop the students. You give them an opportunity to see what the working world is like, what the business is like within their own realm, give them an opportunity to kind of grow their office skills, because a lot of these students, this may be one of their first experiences within an office environment. But I think the other thing that we've found is we've really built out a pretty robust program in the fact that we offer a lot of opportunities for our interns to socialize, because that's what they want. We get this feedback every summer. They want to socialize more and more and more, so we try to provide that opportunity. And we really put it in their hands to help drive that and give them some initiative to run different communities. So they learn some leadership skills themselves in running committees within our internship program. From a social aspect, we have an Baird Gives Back Day for all of our interns, in which they organize an event where they all go and volunteer. So those are some of the softer skill pieces. And then we also have business unit spotlights for our interns, and this is mostly in the summer time frame, where we bring in leaders and more junior associates to tell them about what the business is like, or how they got started, or ask questions. Because what we found also from the interns is they don't want to hear from the leaders as much as you might think. Like, they don't think they're that cool. I mean, it's really interesting, this generation. They're just like, okay, fine, but I want to talk to somebody who just got here, and I want to talk to someone like me, more so than I can recall in previous generations. So I think that's one thing we tried to make sure that we round in the program as well. And then we have a scholarship program in which they can apply for our summer internship program. And then we also do a group presentation where we pair them up, and they have to deliver a topic that they think would better Baird. So whether that's from a HR perspective, the intern program, a business technology piece, whatever they have seen in their exposure, and it gives them a chance to present to senior leadership as well as their managers and other interns. So it's a really good opportunity to develop their presentation skills, and we have a person who comes in and helps them rehearse that and gives them some good skills there. So that's a number of things that we do as part of our program.
Yeah, and similar to Sarah as well, you've got to start with the business. You have your leaders support that, your executives support that. Be true to your company as well. I mean, the days of old of bringing an intern as just temp help, it's not going to fly. It's really going to be more of a hurt to you on campus as they talk to their friends and their peers in school of, oh gosh, I intern at XYZ company. It's I'm doing grunt work, I'm doing filing. You're going to have a hard time recruiting full time as well. So we see our intern program as a way also to build brand and program exposure on campuses as well. So our leaders at Direct Supply are really tasked with two things, and that's to help their current team members be successful in the role, but also develop their team members for future opportunities as well. So we apply that to the internship program as well. They're getting involved in programs and stuff beyond just the day-to-day, but really taking on some bigger stuff as well. Very similar to what our full-time partners get involved in. Our internship program is also year-round, where we will bring in freshmen and sophomores and juniors early in their collegiate career, have them work part-time during the school year, but then full-time during breaks and summers to give them a longer experience and help them grow within the company, but also within their own development. We set expectations up front as far as here's what we're expecting as far as hours, as far as responsibility. We give feedback. Our leaders are very good about giving feedback. And as Sara mentioned, interns are also very good about giving you feedback. So you've got to be open to that and receptive to that feedback and do stuff with it too. Our program's evolved quite a bit over the years. And a fair amount of that evolvement has come through the feedback that we've gotten from our interns. So you've got to make sure that you have channels for them to share that. We like the social side of it. We encourage them to talk with each other and talk with others. Job shadow other areas and groups because it helps them in their own career development and understand how businesses operate, which is a benefit to them in their current role, but also long term. So again, that exposure is really helpful for them in their development, but also for your company as well as they build their understanding of how businesses operate.
Okay. I think it'd be good now to get a viewpoint from a student. Jenna is working now as an intern, and Jenna, maybe you can talk about what appeals to you when you're looking for an internship. What type of makeup are you looking for in that company and the position? And then what type of work do you perform now, and how does that relate to the type of work that a full-time employee?
Sure. So let's see, when I was first starting to look for an internship, for me personally, I had an interest in sales. So like I said, I'm double majoring in marketing and human resources, minor in communications. I really had no idea where I wanted to go with that. I thought sales was a really great place to start for me. So first it was a sales, position, maybe marketing, something that had sales around it. The second thing was a company that I was able to grow with, potentially after graduation. The fact that Direct Supply is privately held was hard for me to find a lot of information about them. I honestly just ran into them at a career fair and spoke with them a little bit, and then upon going to, they have what's called an express interview night, where you go and you interview for multiple positions for about 10 minutes. It kind of relates to like speed dating. So I went to that. It's really interesting, really cool. You learn a lot about the company. It's a great screening process for them. I mean, it's just a quick 10 minutes, and I guarantee you they know right away off the bat if they want to bring somebody back then or not. To speak to what I do at Direct Supply, I manage myself over, I think it's over about 150 accounts. So like Wade said, it's senior living facilities, it's hospitals. Interns have a little bit of a different, set of accounts than a full-time person, but ours are pretty much all over the board, all over the United States. I'm selling medical equipment, furniture, janitorial supplies over the phone to, like I said, different facilities all day long. I also manage new business leads. So people come to us to request our catalogs. We kind of, screen them, get more information about them, see if it's worthwhile to reach out to them as one of our customers or create an account for them. I believe that's, this summer I actually had the chance of being a mentor myself. So it was really cool that in the last panel we were talking about mentorship. I'm so fortunate to be able to be an intern and then also mentor another intern that was hired on this summer. So that was an incredible experience as well.
Okay. And next, with every internship program, there's many times an academic side and the college involvement as well as the actual work experience. And we have Professor Avdeev that can talk about the role of experiential learning in a curriculum.
Right, so internship or co-op program is ultimate experiential learning. You basically, as a student, you go out and work in the industry. But there's a lot of other opportunities that students have on campus. So there are classes where they teamed up and work on a project that are either sponsored by industry or addresses some societal issues or problems. The challenge is that it's hard for a student to find a space in their curriculum to, take this project. So part of the reason we launched a startup challenge last year was to go above the curriculum limitations. And it was a challenge for us to break the silos of different colleges and create the teams that consist of engineers, art majors, healthcare science majors, business majors, to work on this experiential, to have these experiences through the process of starting a company. And so it's critical. And one thing I wanted to kind of follow up on what Jenna said, for a student it's hard to know what they want to do. And I worked in the industry for 6 years. On the receiving end, I was actually running an internship program in a software company. And they indeed have no idea what they want. And one of the things that helps both students, employers, as well as us, parents of those students, is to get closer with each other. So there's a great model that works at UWM is when industry basically moved their research and development operation on campus. So examples are GE Healthcare, Johnson Controls Power Division, or Rockwell and Business School. So you basically bring part of your company onto campus, and then you students, instead of just being dumped into the corporate environment where they have no idea what's going on, the landscape, they can't even find any information on some of the companies, they kind of have this decompression chamber on campus where they start to work with people from the company and find their path. It also helps us as faculty to understand the needs of the industry and see what are the skill sets that are missing and cultivate them, change the curriculum, or engage students in certain activities that would help industry. So moving on campus helps a lot, and it seems to be working really well for engineering at least.
Another aspect as far as training young people for careers is an apprenticeship program. And we have Ken here to talk about the apprenticeship program. And Ken, can you just describe what we mean by apprenticeship?
Okay, an apprenticeship program is a three-way contract between the employer, the employee, and the state. The state is a supervisor on there. The employee promises to learn the trade, whatever trade it may be, and the employer promises to train the employee or the apprentice, and the state supervises it. There's usually a specified, the contract specifies a certain number of hours and a certain amount of training time to complete the apprenticeship. Now, for tool and die maker, which I'm involved with, tool and die maker and CNC machinist, but tool and die maker, the apprenticeship is a specified 10,400 hours. For 40 hours a week, it's 5 years. Out of that 10,400 hours, they go to 1 semester, 4 semesters of 1 day a week theory training at a technical college. And we have one of the greatest technical college systems here in Wisconsin. It's just really great. It's probably one of the best ones in the United States. And so that it says it's 574 hours of related training that happens at the technical colleges. Then while they're doing that, as for the first 2 years of their apprenticeship, then they work for their employer the rest of the time, and they're working on the job training. So they're actually learning and mentoring from other journeymen, which are called journeymen after they complete their apprenticeship, and they're learning the tasks that they have to do. The average apprenticeship, I don't know how far you want me to go on this.
Go ahead.
Let's keep going. Okay, so I can talk forever on this. There's an advantage of an apprenticeship over a 4-year university degree, and not to discount university degrees as being not good, because they are, but when you're done with your apprenticeship, you don't have a bill in your hand that you have to pay off over the next 10 or 20 years. You actually make money while you're being apprenticed. Apprentice usually starts out at 50% the base rate of a journeyman. For tool and die maker, it's right around $20 an hour, and it depends on which company that you work for. Some of them are more, some of them are less, but the average is about $20 an hour. So they start out at 50% the base rate, and then every 1,040 hours, or 5%, they get a 5% raise. So at the end of their term of contract, then they're being paid the full journeyman's rate, which would be the base rate. Now that is a bottom line journeyman's rate. So from there, they got nothing to do but go up. Now many times, for a 5-year apprenticeship, I've had guys complete their apprenticeships early because of overtime and everything. Every hour gets counted. There's some advantages to apprenticeship. The employee or the apprentice learns while they earn. They start paying taxes right away. So that's good, right? It isn't? Well, here's a statistic that I like to tell everybody. Every one of my apprentices, except one, has bought a house before they got done with their apprenticeship. Who can say that? And that's a fact. And I've trained about 8 or 9, 10 apprentices, and I got 3 right now. So you know, and the one guy that didn't, and I've trained men and women, and one guy that didn't lives at home yet. So what does he care? You know? I don't know what's going on there, but how to get an apprenticeship. I can talk to you about how to get an apprenticeship. Our technical college system is one of the best around. We have degrees, a 2-year degree in tool and die. So if now this is tool and die, you can do this with electrician and plumber and everything else, except they a lot of times go through the unions. But for tool and die and machine tool operation, which is a CNC machine operator, which everybody hears about, that's really high, that's in demand right now. They can go to school for 2 years at the technical college, get a degree, and then an employer is very willing to hire them as an apprentice or as a learnee, but a lot of times as an apprentice. So the employer is sponsoring it. If they complete their 2-year degree, they don't have to go to school anymore. The schooling is done in that 2-year degree. So that's a good thing. Now they have to pay for that, but they also get credit on their apprenticeship. So instead of a 5-year apprenticeship, it might be a 4-year apprenticeship. So they get credit on that. Should I keep going?
All right, we'll come back. We'll come back. Okay, Stephanie, you have a unique program to help train younger people to get into industry.
We do. Actually, my years with Generac Power Systems as a manufacturer, we can relate to the internships. We had 50 different interns at any given time. And I think what we found is that young people, even at 16 and earlier, want more hands-on relevant learning in their educational process, period. You know, I think that it doesn't matter where they are now in their educational process, they want that. We need to help provide more on-ramps to education overall. And I believe, and a firm believer, that we should start those on-ramps as early as possible. And so our program started through Generac with the idea that instead of having kids fail way early and not even finish a basic high school diploma in high school education because the educational process wasn't working for them, let's have different on-ramp opportunities for these students that truly were typically very hands-on, relevant learners. They needed to understand the math that they were learning. Why do I have to learn this? How does this mean anything for me? Well, what they found coming into our program, as we immersed them into the education center that was actually in the business. So when you talk about bringing business and education together, what better opportunity to do that than to have a young person pull up their pants and walk through the front door of a business to say, you know what, I have higher expectations of myself today than I did yesterday. And so we bring these young people into these education centers that are within the business themselves. Each one of the education centers has typically 8 to 10 juniors and 8 to 10 seniors with a state certified teacher that is certified not only in a core content area, but also in alternative education. But along with that, we immerse the business because the business expertise comes into these classrooms. So not only do these students have the educational process that aligns with the Common Core for their high school diploma, but they also have the expertise of engineers and HR and all of the business environment that they have. Along with that, the other 6 hours, so that's 2 hours a day, the other 6 hours, they are actually immersed in the business environment. And as Ken said, he has one of our youth apprentices. So every single one of our students is registered with the state, with Department of Workforce Development, as a youth apprenticeship, as a youth apprentice at 16. So the students coming into our program are 16 years old. They spend a full 21 months with us. They don't have any breaks. They spend that full 21 months. But what we really believe is that the mentorship and the skills that these students do get, the last panel talked a lot about the touch points for students, the touch points for kids. So we truly understand that we never know exactly where that most positive point of influence is going to be with young people. And so we have to align them with those touch points, with the mentors, with the learning experiences that truly are going to make, a difference in their lives. And these students, I think, do develop a stronger critical thinking, problem solving that they have. And along with that, they really do end this program, not just at 18. They have a high school diploma. They have a 2-year youth apprenticeship certification. They have the opportunity now to take all of that into an adult apprenticeship if they want to. They have 2 years of true experience in a skilled trade, or quite frankly, even if they never want to see a manufacturer again, they have the life skills and the employability skills that I will tell you, as an HR professional, and every HR professional and business professional out there will say, you give me the core of a young person that wants to learn, that can be here every day, that can think critically and problem solve, and I can teach them anything. And so I believe that there's more of these options that we'd like to put out there as educators earlier on, to continue to offer those different on-ramps for young people to be able to experience a positive education that truly, I think in the end, is transformational. And that's really what we believe that our students get through this very unique model.
Thank you. I think you can see there are a variety of ways now for young people to start their careers early or start working towards a ultimate career and get some very good relevant work experience. One thing I'd like to talk about now, and we can start with Wade and just work our way down. What have you noticed as changes in the way that you need to recruit talent into your organization from what may have been done 5 or 10 years ago?
We're, ways that our process has changed to recruit talent. Jenna mentioned one was we're doing express interview nights. So we have a variety of internships and recent, entry-level positions where we'll promote through our college campuses, other channels to bring individuals in to do kind of like a speed dating event. 10-minute interviews to get a better feel for the role. The leaders are able to get beyond the resume and really start to see the true talent that exists. We're not looking for expert resume writers, we're looking for talent. So that's given us an opportunity to do that. We're also getting more involved in the classroom, bringing knowledge experts into marketing classes, other business courses as well, career development courses on campus, and sharing our knowledge and expertise with students as a way to enhance their education, but also to give them a feel or flavor for the company. What are our values and beliefs? As Will had mentioned that, branding and marketing, how important that is. We have a pretty good feel as far as our culture and our company and things that separate and differentiate us from other companies. So we're very explicit with that. And if that's attractive to talent, fantastic with it. If that's not something that appeals to them, fine. There are a lot of companies out there that will appeal to them. But the core of it is, getting more involved with students. We understand that there's a lot of opportunities out there. It's a very competitive market as well for students that have that clarity and awareness. But we focus with students on helping them to discover and understand what are their talents and skills, and what talents and skills are we looking for in roles. Major is less important. Their educational background is less important. More important are talents and skills, because we can teach, we can train, we can develop, we can motivate them, but if we don't know what motivates them, it's going to be hard to do that. Do you want me to keep going?
Stephanie, maybe you can talk about
Sure.
the recruitment of some of the companies you work with.
Sure. I think, like anything we talked about before, is young people don't even know what's out there in many cases. And manufacturing, for one, is the worst marketers that are out there in the entire universe, I'm convinced. And so, and media doesn't help us at all either. But, we really do need to start, exploring ways and opportunities to expose all levels, young people and those re-entering the workforce, about what manufacturing, as an example of one industry, has to offer. And I think some of those, there's tours out there, and there's different things that you can kind of dabble in and give them a new picture of what maybe manufacturing looks like. It's not the dirty, dingy, dangerous world it used to be. But I guess I take it one step further in that immersive element. I firmly believe that in order for young people to really explore and understand what they can be within a certain role or in a certain field, they have to do something. You know, it's one thing to say, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to watch somebody else do it. But it's a whole other thing to experience it. And those can be in a variety of ways. I mean, we happen to do it fully immersed, you know, as an organization, but I do think that there's other ways of getting students involved with employers in projects and really get them involved in a really cool project that they can take with them and is really going to be meaningful to say, you know what, I did this piece of the project and I did all the drawings for it and I really love this. I think, you know, engineering might really be something that I want to explore further. Those are the kind of things that become more meaningful for the young people, and then really be able to say, okay, now I think I know where I might want to take this.
I think, just thinking, I've been at Baird for 13 years, so I think about how things have evolved. I think, kind of to Wade's point about, and Stephanie's as well, about the education piece on campus. You know, we do a lot on campus in going to classes, doing presentations, and also bringing student groups in, and they could do a stock pitch, for example, so they can really see what an aspect of the business is all about and how it operates and the intensity of it. I think the other thing that we've expanded is our technology and how we reach out to students and we connect with them and hear from them. We use something called Montage, which is an opportunity to do a lot of more video interviewing, as well as the other key that we use, especially on campus, is something called Montage View, which is basically the opportunity for the student to share and answer a couple questions, like YouTube, right, which is totally up their alley, right? They can do it from their iPhone, they can do it from their laptop, and it gives them a chance to sell themselves in a way that they're used to communicating, you know, with the world. To me, it's a little foreign, but to them, it's totally up their alley. And we've gotten really great feedback. And students get excited about that because sometimes financial services isn't known as the most techy place, but the technology really runs our business. I mean, it's key to our success. So helping them understand how those aspects fit in. And then I think the other thing that we've evolved is how we sell to students and how we pitch the organization and how we put our brand out there. Our brand hasn't changed, but we've tried to pay attention to what students really want to know. We're big on community involvement, and that really resonates with students, so we make sure that they're aware of that or get them involved with community involvement projects that we do and things like that. So it's a few.
Ken, would you like to talk about recruiting into your organization?
Oh, sure. We've been involved with the technical colleges for quite a while, so we're in touch with them. I'm on the apprenticeship or MTO board for Waukesha Area Technical College. So we talk with them, and we're talking with students. Last night I was to I don't know if it was a career fair or it was supposed to be a job fair during the day, but then in the evening they had opened up the labs at WCTC, the machine shops and the labs there, and to tours and that, and then we had a booth set up there where we were talking to students that were coming through, or prospective students that were thinking about either going to school at WCTC, and their parents. The big deal is to talk to the parents, because the parents are the drivers. You know, you should go here, you should go there. They know their kids. We're involved with GPS, so we have GPS students. With technical colleges, we have young people that work for us that are going to the technical college that are working for us part-time. And we also got a program called Bots IQ, where it's a robotic competition where the high schools have a robotic team, and then they compete against other high schools and other teams to see who can smack the heck out of the other robot, you know. And they like it. The kids like it. The kids design their own robots. They're radio controlled. There's really not a lot of rules other than they can't have any electronic weapons or anything like that. But they can have a hammer, they can have a chain, they can have all kinds of stuff, and a saw, we have an arena, and we have a couple of competitions a year. One coming up in November 16th at Marine Park Technical College. And so the students build the robot, they design it, they record what they did on how to, and they're graded on everything, and then whoever is the top robot wins the trophy, you know. So and the kids love it. The kids love it. So we do that. We've been doing that for like 7 years. We have tours for our factory, and make sure you bring the parents, you know. The trouble is with counselors in high school is, I don't know if high schools are all, you know, programmed to send kids to four-year universities. And that's fine, except there's a lot of those kids that go to four-year universities, they drop out, or they don't finish, and there's a lot of them that fall through the cracks, and a lot of, there's many kids that learn by doing, and those are the people, the mechanics, that we like to have, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good trade, and you know, so that's how we find them.
Great, thank you. Professor Avdeev, maybe you could talk about how our university interacts with the business community and developing curriculum to meet the needs of the business community, adjusting curriculum to meet the needs of the business community.
Sure. So, well, engineering is, I'm lucky to be in engineering. We're really, really involved with manufacturing and business and other aspects. It's very easy to assess talent, you know, by hard skills, much harder to assess by soft skills. So we constantly interact, and I'm inviting everyone to come to us and talk to us so we can help you, and you can help us understand your needs. One thing that I'd like to say is that if you as business is looking for top talent, you have to put the skin in the game. The talent is not going to fall in your laps. And you have to, there are several ways how you can do it. Job fairs, it's all great and it works, but it not necessarily lend you the best, the most talented students, because it's, you know, they have a lot of opportunities. We have 100% placement in engineering. And one of the ways to do it is to sponsor a class project, sponsor a research project, and basically engage students while they're in college on the projects that you need. And that becomes a job interview, a semester job interview on campus. And then you can really get students excited before they go to job fairs and get lured by, you know, Facebook campus or Google campus and ping pong tables and things like that. So that's one way. So it's easy to assess the hard skills of students doing that because they're actually working on the real world project. Soft skills, characterizing them much harder. That's why they're called soft. One way we're trying to do it is with the startup challenge. It's basically we're saying, all right, so you are a student, you have a resume, but you also have another resume that shows that you launched a business. And this is what you had to do. You had to form a team, you had to test your idea, you have to come up with a business model, you had to prototype it, you had to do all these things that actually have deliverables. So, and all these things are actually testing your soft skills more than your hard skills. And they have deliverables. And we actually promote failure. So if your company fails, fantastic, because you're still in college, you know, you don't have a mortgage, you have health insurance, you're not, you know, living on the street. We encourage failure because, you know, you fail once, you get it out of the way, and you're not afraid to fail again or take some risks. But ultimately, most of the people who start their businesses, they end up working for companies or other businesses. The success rate of startups is very, very low. And for us, the metrics of success of the program is not how many startups will survive in 5-10 years, but actually how many students will go through the process. So we're starting up their careers. And we can measure actually their soft skills that way. So now you can go to university, and our program is pretty unique in the country, but each university is now moving towards that innovation, entrepreneurship spread across all campus. And you have to look at those programs from a talent point of view. So don't look at them just somebody's trying to become rich and launch their business. Look at the people actually who go through these programs, the students, because these are most likely the top-notch students. And the interesting thing, they're not necessarily students with the highest GPA or A students. They might be actually C students with totally different intelligences and totally different education and inspirations. But these are the kind of people that will move your company forward, rather than somebody who just follows what the manager says. It also helps find people who are, when you work in a company, you look at the great people in the company, the leaders of the company, and the common mistake that people make, and I did that mistake as well when I just graduated, is to kind of look at where they are now and try to get there. Well, what you have to do is you have to actually look at what inspired them to get there. And if you look at what inspired them, find what inspires you, and someday you will get, maybe not there, but in a different point, but you'll definitely get there. If you're just looking at the place where they are, but not what inspired them, you're not going to get there ever. So students who try to launch their businesses, they're definitely inspired. And so you have to kind of look at them.
Okay, great. We've heard about how the employers are recruiting people. It might be nice to hear from somebody who could be a candidate on what impresses our students now when it comes time to be recruited.
And I'm so glad that, because I actually wanted to jump in and say, I want to speak from my side. So as a student, the students that you're going to be looking for most likely already have a job, you're extremely motivated themselves, stretching themselves very thin already just by taking on tasks because they are that passionate of a person. What a student looks for is, and I don't want to say make it easy for them, but come to them, make them aware that you're looking for interns. It's a really daunting task to go get an internship. There's a ton of competition. I myself sometimes tend to sell myself a bit short just because I know in my classes how many other students out there that are excellent students, but what people have been saying before, everyone's skill set's so different. Maybe I'm not as smart as them, or they did better on the last exam, but I'm better for this position. So coming to career fairs can be a bit hectic sometimes. So that's kind of hard to speak to, but I feel like what Direct Supply is doing with Express Interview Nights, they're opening up their campus to have all these people come and just kind of try Direct Supply on, as well as Direct Supply trying them out too. So it's kind of like a give and take and a great experience that way. But I guess my main point to get across is put yourselves out there for them so that they know that you're looking for positions and have positions available. Like I said, I didn't know anything about Direct Supply. I just bumped into them at a career fair, and now I'm so grateful and thankful to have this awesome experience having an internship with them.
Great. Stephanie, I know you just returned from Germany. So are there things that you may have seen in Europe that could be applicable here to help our people recruit?
I was very fortunate to be able to accompany one of our business partners who is a tool and die stamping company that has really an appreciation not only for apprenticeship, not only youth apprenticeship, but also adult apprenticeship. And how can we take kind of the expertise and the experiences that Germany has had over the years as it relates to apprenticeship, and how can we take some of those best practices and really make them relevant in the United States? So this was kind of a seek and find for not just our little area, but really for the state of Wisconsin, and how can we continue to promote apprenticeship in all areas. And so obviously manufacturing is a key area for us and was for Waukesha Metals, but what we found in Germany, I think first and foremost, what I'd love to see in this country is an honor and a respect for the trades. I understand that a 4-year degree is a wonderful thing. I myself have that. However, I also believe that there are multiple ways of getting that kind of transformational learning and that educational process. And to say that, the folks that work for Ken Mahuta are any less honorable as a career than a doctor, lawyer, or anyone else is just incredibly short-sighted. And so it was refreshing to go there and see that parents and individuals honor and respect the skilled trades. I think saying that, I think there are ways that we can create that honor and respect within these skilled trades here by elevating not only those experiences, but I think that rigor of the educational process. And so what I'd like to see is more of what actually they were very gracious in giving me, is a lot of their assessment tools and a lot of the curriculum that they have relative to preparing young people for whatever they might want to choose, and getting them to a core level of training and a core level of academics that then they can take into those skilled trades. Every single individual, no matter what your trade or what your career path, is apprenticed. And the last thing I'll say about that is that the apprenticeship model is an apprenticeship model of mentorship and experiential learning. And I don't care who you are or where you are, you can learn and you can gain invaluable experiences in your career field with that kind of mindset and that kind of model. We talk in terms of internships, which is great, but it's a little bit of a dabbling. I'd like to see our states and our country really envelop a little bit more of that immersive learning modeling to say apprenticeship applies across the board. So those are some kind of unique things that I think we learned. They're takeaways, very exciting things. I think, we do some wonderful things here. I think it was quite affirming to what GPS Education Partners does relative to that immersive learning. And I think there's more that we can take into this country to do more with our young people and even, with those that are on-ramping at different ages into new career fields relative to apprenticeship at any level.
One thing that we've talked about recruitment here. It's important to recruit quality talent, but also it's very important to maintain the people you have and reduce turnover. And I know one way that a number of employers do this is through a mentoring program. And Sara, would you like to talk about the mentoring that's done at Baird?
Sure. We do a lot of mentoring, especially at the internship level. We have a formal mentor program where we make sure we connect students with people outside of their business units. So again, it gives them an opportunity to connect with different levels of people and people outside of what they may be learning at that given point in time. So that's a big aspect of the program as well. I know for example, I served as a mentor to one of our public finance interns, and it was a great experience for me, probably more than for her. It's just, again, it's so fun to have that enthusiasm and energy. And they just have such a thirst for knowledge. And then we do a number of more mentoring circles within our regular associate population, where we have groups of people through our associate research groups on the women's side that get together and share with one another. And then it just happens organically. I mean, I think sometimes some of the best mentoring happens organically, where two people connect. They may connect at an event, or they look someone up and they get to know one another, and they have that connection and that spark, and they form this mentoring relationship. I think sometimes they can be a little forced, and then they aren't as authentic. And at least from my perspective, I think I've seen the best mentoring situations come out of those circumstances where you just had an energy that the two of you connect, and you form a really good partnership and relationship.
Wade, would you like to talk about the mentoring that's done at direct supply?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really critical, especially as you're bringing in underclassmen who really haven't been in a professional environment yet. Mentoring can be as simple as answering their questions about how do I ask about this, or how do I do this, or what do I wear, what's appropriate. The nice thing is we don't have a dress code per se, so people can wear whatever they want, but there's still things that you shouldn't wear to work, and some people find that out the hard way. So we try to curb that as possible. But just making those opportunities available and trying to find some connectiveness. So we have groups, whether it's by school, so we have alumni groups that are able to get together. We have interns or intern alumni, so people have gone through our internship program, available to our interns to connect with as well within their department. So there's a number of different channels that interns can reach out to in order to find mentors based on what their needs are. Because their needs will vary quite a bit. It might be some of the basics, or it might be advanced knowledge or experience that they're looking for. So just making sure that they have different pools of partners or employees that they can reach into depending upon what their needs are. But coming in, right off the bat, having that mentor to help just acclimate that initial immersion into the culture and into their role. Their leaders there, but having that, the sidecar there to also help answer some of those other questions and support that they need.
I think what we saw in Germany was they start really, really young. By 9 and 10 years old, There really is a collective sit-down with the teacher, the educator, with the student, the parents, to talk about, kind of that career planning. I think it's an early exposure to some of those areas that otherwise students don't look at or think about or think as sexy, or when they do think about it in manufacturing, they think some pretty negative things. I think that we want to get young people more involved in some of the engineering concepts. And so what Germany is doing, and I think even we're doing as well, is that early on they actually go in at 12, 13, and 14 years old, and in those areas, and they actually bring them into their manufacturing environments for a kind of a short-term project. So again, it's kind of a mini immersive environment that they bring in, and they do an actual project. So the students are immersed with the technical experts. They see kind of these cool people, that, okay, this is really not only fun, but these are some pretty cool people. This is some pretty neat stuff that I'm learning. And all of a sudden, they start thinking of some of these things as a career choice, as a career field. I think too much right now is, manufacturing is seen as a, well, if you can't do anything else, I guess you can go and do that, right? We got to stop that. That this has to be, that not only are there careers in manufacturing, but it has to be a career choice. And I think parents are incredibly influential in all of this as well. And I think, we can immerse these young people into some pretty cool opportunities. But the parents have to be as exposed in many of these cases as the young people are, because they have their own thought processes about some of these career fields and some of these areas that, quite honestly, we really have to do more about, exploring with parents and families and educators to help educate them as well. And so I think as you start doing that and getting them excited, Project Lead the Way, is another example of how there's really kind of cool project, Box IQ. I mean, our kids get so excited about that, and I will tell you, I've got a handful of students that at 17 years old, because of Box IQ and because of the experience that they got in the SolidWorks training from those engineers that they were working with, they decided to become an engineer. So, those kind of influences that we can have on young people and making it more sexy and a cooler, manufacturing is cool and it should be cool. And so we have to make sure that we explore some of those things to help them decide on their own that, yeah, indeed, it really is cool and this is what I want to do.
I think it's something we continue to work on because I think it's an issue within our business. I think we have partnered with a number of high schools. So Cristo Rey High Schools across the country, Carmen High School of Science and Technology, and bringing students in just to give them an idea of what is it like to work in an office? What does that mean? Because a lot of people equate a business like ours with a bank teller. Like that's their knowledge and that's their range. They have no idea the breadth of opportunities within our business. So that's one way. I think there's more to be done though. I think we really try to encourage our interns themselves to share information with others. But I think that we've had a challenge in trying to figure out how do we integrate younger people within our business, because it's a complicated business, and we run fast and lean, and in trying to make sure we've got enough people on the ground to make sure we give them good, meaningful opportunities. But so we're still trying to figure out that balance, but Carmen and Cristo Rey are two programs that we're trying to really beef up within the organization.
Hands-on is important. So similar to Sara, we're doing job shadow, so working with junior achievement. MPS has a summer camp, iCamp. So one of the days they come in and they interact with our engineers and take a tour of our environment so they can see what does it actually look like and feel like. It's one thing to picture what an engineer looks like, but if you're from urban Milwaukee, you may not understand fully all the variety of engineering roles that exist out there. They had a challenge at Washington. I work at Washington High School a fair amount, and some of their students pictured engineers as janitors because they were custodial engineers is what they were called. So when you brought up engineering, they were thinking janitorial support, which isn't a bad career, but it's a different picture than what the engineer that we were focused on provided. So doing those job shadows, different programs. There's iFair is something as well that we're working with at Washington High School, where they're bringing middle school students in. There's companies there talking about careers in STEM and showing students hands-on of what those roles entail, what do you do. But really the key is, hands-on, finding ways to connect with them, project lead the way. Just those ways for students to understand how their skills fit into career paths, because there's so many distractions. There's the internet, there's computers, there's TV shows, all this stuff that gives a perception, but until they actually get involved and do it. I mean, how many students want to be doctors and lawyers and, CSI investigators? I mean, TV has a huge impact on their career paths that they choose, so trying to expose them to some different paths is really important. So we've identified partnerships where they are attracting younger students, high schools, for example, that are interested in those career paths, and then we're getting our engineers out there, but also bringing the students into our environment as well. And I've taken our leaders in and have them interact with the students, and once they really see the passion, huge passion that the students have, they're more supportive of their staff going out and interacting and also bringing groups in as well. As long as you make it easy for them, and that's one of my roles, is to try to make it easy for them and make them look good as part of it. But once they see that passion that the kids have, it sells itself.
Yeah. We do a product launch challenge too with our students, and it's all summer, and it's 2 to 3 months that they spend, and they spent with 15 different marketing professionals at Generac as one example. So these are from the executive VP of marketing all the way to marketing managers and graphic design folks and everything else, and they go in teams and they actually develop their own product. And they go through the 4 Ps of marketing, which they never knew there were 4 Ps of marketing, right? And so many of our students are working with the end product. They didn't know how the first end of the product worked, right? How does it get there? And so I think kind of that whole development process, and all of a sudden they had a broader appreciation, not only for kind of the field of marketing in some of those areas, but what it actually takes to, have a product go through that product development process and into final production. So it's kind of that whole business perspective that they got. But I will tell you, the 15 Generac people that participated in this, and we kind of do a Shark Tank afterwards. And so these student groups actually present to 6 CEOs their product and all of the materials and everything else that they put together. So it's a pretty cool project. And that's one of the things when I talk about the projects that students remember. That has made a profound impact on those students and their confidence, their self-confidence and everything else. But it has had a profound impact on Generac as an organization to say, I want to help youth more. This reunited and re-excited me into what I love to do and how I can share that. And those same people still come back to the classroom, almost every week, just to say hi, because they've lost that connection point now and they're missing it. So, that level of engagement doesn't take a lot. I mean, they were invested, but boy, what a return that they got on that, and pretty exciting stuff. So